Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for this WBIR Plus special. I'm Aaron Velasquez. Today we are recapping your top school stories from across East Tennessee this past week. The principal of a charter school in Chattanooga has resigned in the midst of an investigation at the school. Diamond Kelly was initially placed on leave after the school leaders hired a teacher who is facing federal child sex crimes charges. And Hamilton County Schools says out of the 45 teachers at Chat Prep, 21 don't have a license to teach. Educators say the fallout means students looking to graduate aren't earning, quote, valid credits. District leaders says it's impacting the entire senior class of almost 50 students. The school already posted online its first graduating class earned more than $600,000 in scholarships, and all of them have post-graduation plans. Now, Hamilton County school leaders plan to revoke the charter for Chat Prep on April 17th, forcing the school to close at the end of the year. This all-boys charter school, Chattanooga Prep, has a sister school here in Knoxville, Knox Prep. 10 News reporter Olivia Daig brought questions to school leaders.
Knox Prep is run by the same organization, Prep Public Schools, that runs Chat Prep, which is the school under scrutiny right now. Knox Prep operates with private leadership, but uses public money through the Knox County school system. They got the school board's blessing in December of 2023 and opened last August. This teacher, Kenya White, has been arrested twice, including in February, while he was still a teacher at Chattanooga Prep. White faces 12 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor by electronic means and kidnapping, among other charges. Local 3 News found Chat Prep hired him despite a disciplinary hold due to an ongoing DCS investigation. They also learned that the school was not set up to run DCS background checks on teachers, which is required by law. Now, because the Chat Prep leadership is in charge of Knox Prep, we asked KCS leaders and all school board members if they're concerns. We heard back from board member Ann Templeton, who told us she's asking the district questions. We also received this statement from school board member Catherine Bike. She said she's shocked to hear about the issues at Chat Prep, but was not surprised about the organization's inability to meet state standards after their application process. She says she's also asking the district questions about Knox Prep. Now, as far as the school district, they told us they provide oversight and make sure the school is complying with the law. The district says they've worked with Knox Prep to establish expectations for the school. Their interim CEO said in this statement they took many steps like firing that teacher, placing senior school staff on leave, providing counseling, and hiring a firm to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Now, we've also asked for a full list of staff members at Knox Prep. We've asked them if Knox Prep has a system in place to check if employees have any DCS investigations.
Well, Tennessee lawmakers are considering a bill that would give school districts across the state the power to deny public education to certain students, in this case, students who are undocumented. Republicans say the bill offers schools more options. Democrats oppose it on moral and legal grounds, saying the bill violates a Supreme Court decision dating back 40 years. At a hearing Tuesday, state lawmakers heard from students. Reporter Sarah Ottman spoke to a young man from Knoxville about why he testified against the bill.
Going to school, it's not a privilege, but it's a right to go to school.
The 19-year-old high school graduate from Knoxville took that message to Nashville, testifying in front of lawmakers in opposition to a bill calling for schools to be allowed to check the citizenship of students.
It doesn't, the 793 doesn't, from the House perspective, doesn't say that the school system shall check for citizenship or check for citizen documentation. It just says it has the option to do that.
And the Republican from Oak Ridge supports the change, saying school districts face an undue hardship from a wave of new immigrant children entering schools, especially in Middle and West Tennessee.
We need better immigration laws and we need to enforce them. But to take it out on a child, just because English is their second language, it means nothing as to their status in this country. So what are you going to do? You're going to start targeting people.
A lot of these undocumented people are not only paying taxes to the state, but are paying federal taxes, which they receive nothing in return.
William Mendoza is a first-generation Honduran American, and he's public about his opposition to the bill.
So I think it's my duty to go and fight for them, and it's my duty to be their voice when they have no voice right now.
He says changing the law will only add a new burden for young people and their families trying to build a life in this country through education and an honest day's work.
Undocumented people have given, are paying taxes in many ways. And just buying something in the grocery store, they're paying taxes to the state to be able to pay for this.
And also out of Nashville, we're learning new numbers tied to the expanded school voucher plan supported by the governor, using more public money for private school scholarships. State education leaders say more than 160 schools have signaled they will participate in Tennessee's Universal School Choice program. This Education Freedom Scholarship program lets families access public dollars for $7,000 private school scholarships. The governor signed it into law last month after lawmakers passed it in a special session. Families can start applying this spring. Education leaders released a list today of the 160 plus schools that intend to accept the voucher. Well, thousands of educators and administrators can soon lose their jobs as President Donald Trump's administration continues its plan to dismantle the Department of Education. The abrupt changes are raising concern across the country about the fallout. Research, financial aid, and special education programs are all at risk. 10 News reporter Olivia Daig spoke with advocates and a mom who says she's concerned about the future of funding for these programs in East Tennessee schools.
The Trump administration laid off more than half of the Department of Education employees this week. And now Tennessee parents like this one are worried.
The big important thing there is that he feels very welcome in his school environment.
Shannon's son has Down syndrome, and another one of her kids has autism. They both have IEPs at school, or an individualized education program. It's one of the regulations laid out in the Department of Education.
Ensures that states and schools are meeting their obligations across the board for IDEA.
Jeff Strand with the Tennessee Disability Coalition has joined a group of advocates in Nashville Wednesday to talk about issues impacting people with disabilities. He says the recent layoffs muddy the waters for families who need these programs.
If nobody is enforcing, I can see these IEPs becoming more generic and less individualized. I can see them restricting or limiting access to expensive interventions.
President of the Tennessee Education Association and former teacher Tanya Coates says she's deeply concerned.
It could lead to inconsistencies in how students with disabilities are served, and some areas offering robust services to our students, where some will only get very minimal services.
This mom says if the federal oversight of special education goes away, it could be detrimental for children like hers.
As a state government, if we don't have to spend that money and we don't have to serve those students, why would we? Right? That's not necessarily the top priority for the state government.
A new letter from the U.S. Department of Education warns the University of Tennessee and 59 other colleges they could face punishment for failing to protect Jewish students on campus. 10 News reporter Lauren Lovett talked to a lawyer, professor, and activist, all who say they're concerned this letter could mean more restrictions on freedom of speech.
Most of the universities the Department of Education reached out to saw pro-Palestinian protests on their campuses. The people I talked with say these letters seem to be the Trump administration's way of keeping students from exercising their right to freedom of speech. The Department of Education sent out dozens of letters to universities they say failed to protect Jewish students. The University of Tennessee is one of them under investigation.
I can't explain it rationally because there's no rational explanation for it.
Criminal defense attorney Mike Whalen says this started after students protested the Israeli government's response to Hamas.
It's not at all improper for anyone to oppose any government's policy. It makes you no more an anti-Semite than protesting against U.S. policy makes you un-American. In fact, it's the most American thing you can do.
He represents some people who were arrested during one demonstration on UT's campus last year. Whalen says those were some of the most peaceful protests he's seen, and if people are made to stop protesting, they could lose that right altogether. Professor Mark O'Gorman says there's a fine line between freedom of speech and safety.
That's going to be the gray area. If a student feels unsafe because of the action, then the conversation occurs of whether that action was lawful or permitted.
Julie Elfin, a member of Jewish Voice for Peace, was at some of those demonstrations last year. She says the department's actions don't seem to be coming from a place of actually trying to protect students.
I don't believe that accusations of anti-Semitism are in good faith when they come from people who are not protecting my queer family, who are not protecting immigrants, who are not protecting Muslims and Palestinians and all of our allies.
A bill that would protect children who walk to school is moving forward in the state legislature. State senators in the Transportation and Safety Committee passed the bill today. It would create a student pedestrian protection grant program to design, construct, and repair sidewalks around public schools. Representative John Ray Clemens explains his support.
And we have a lot of children in rural and urban areas having to walk in the ditches or on the side of the road. And so what I've heard from various LEAs across the state is they would love to better protect their children and their students and see if we can't help them fund some sidewalk construction in and around our schools and within the neighborhoods.
This bill was introduced by Senator Sarah Kyle from Memphis.
In 2024, there was 1,900 accidents involving pedestrians across Tennessee and 153 deaths. In 2023, there was nearly 2,000 pedestrian accidents and 189 pedestrian deaths.
This bill would create a fund for the projects managed by TDOT. This bill is on the way to the full House. A Halls High School science teacher has won a $25,000 grant for the school. She hopes it will foster an interest in science and a lifelong love for learning. Reporter Avery Gingrich talked to the teacher about the surprise.
Halls High School is celebrating one of its own. Science Department Chair Abby Race may be just 5 feet tall, but she always aims high.
As somebody who loved science in school, I wanted to do more, but we did have just the basic stuff, and I didn't want it to be, you're done, that's it. I wanted more options for our kids.
She says the plan with this $25,000 grant is to replace old equipment and fund new science classes. Race has always loved science. Her curiosity led her to memorize human bones just by touch as a kid. But she credits her teachers and her parents for nurturing her passion.
My parents were the kind of parents that knew that if I wanted to do something, I could, and they always would push me, but they wouldn't carry me.
She says that strengthened her work ethic, and she's tried to do the same at Halls.
She's like, you're good at leading, why don't you just lead the whole class? I'm like, I don't really know. She just kept pushing me until I said yes.
Race's love for science led her to nursing in college. When she realized that wasn't for her, she pivoted to sports business management. A fork in the road, but not a loss. She says she embraced new skills. Another lesson she passes on.
I was torn between going into the medical field and the science field, and I feel like her class just pushed me in there because it was just I don't know what to do, and she was just so fun. I feel like I can do this every day.
Just 27 years old, she hopes to be learning side by side with her students for years to come.
Welcome back to our education recap. I'm Aaron Velasquez. South College's competency-based education program crossed a milestone recently with more than 1,000 students enrolling in the program. Through CBE, the school is adding a Doctor of Nursing practice. According to the college, it's the only graduate and doctoral level CBE program approved by the Tennessee Board of Nursing. This means nurses who are already working in their field can earn an advanced degree while working around their already busy schedule. President of the CBE program, Michael Patrick, says the fact the program has reached over 1,000 students so far is an example of the success students are achieving.
And they're licensed nurses out in the field, and they're working, whether it's in the hospital or different clinical hours. And so it's difficult at times for them to be able to maybe complete an assessment on a Wednesday night or on a Sunday night by midnight. They need that flexibility to do it on their pacing, and the CBE model certainly allows for them to do that.
Classes are available online 24/7 for students to take part. Patrick says students can earn their degree in as little as 18 months. He even told me there was one student who put their foot down and completed a doctorate of business in less than a year. The program grew to more than 1,000 students since it first started 3 years ago. Students are able to earn their masterate or doctor's degrees in business, education, ministry, and more. The president of the program, Michael Patrick, says some students can complete that degree in as little as 18 to 30 months.
Students will start off with 2 courses, and then as fast as they move through those courses, we give them additional courses as well. So we had a student describe it one time and said, I needed a program to fit my lifestyle versus me changing my life to fit a program.
He says this program would be perfect for students trying to find the balance between work and education. Well, they're more than just violins. They're a symbol of survival and hope. The Knoxville Symphony Orchestra is bringing the, quote, Violins of Hope, schools sharing a powerful lesson from history. Reporter Jillian Taylor shows us how these instruments are making an impact.
More than just instruments. These violins speak.
To be able to see beautiful instruments that have lasted and transcend all that time, it just brings reality into the picture. It's not just something we're reading in a history book or we've been told about. It's something that we can see and feel and touch and hear. It sort of puts us in the moment of those people's lives.
This is Violins of Hope, a project preserving instruments that once played through the horrors of the Holocaust. Some belonged to those who never returned, and others survived alongside the people who held them. Now, the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra is bringing them into local schools to help educate the younger generation. The presentation was especially impactful for Molly Gunter, a Tate School student who has played violin for 8 years.
It makes it stand out from more instruments than it's just like a plain old violin. It makes it feel like I'm doing something with it.
Did you feel proud at all?
Yeah, I did.
The violins challenge us to speak up and speak out and make sure that our actions reflect who we want to be.
Soon, these violins will take the stage once more. On April 8th, the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra will perform a special concert at the Tennessee Theater, playing these instruments to send a message.
Even in the darkest times, hope can survive.
In Knoxville, I'm Jillian Taylor.
Well, usually spectacular work from students is only displayed in hallways or maybe on their parents' fridge, but Jefferson County Schools is trying to change that. Our anchor Katie Inman shows us how new signs are a window into student success.
We're hanging out today at Maury Middle School in Dandridge. This is actually where I went to middle school, so this is pretty cool. And this view behind me is unmatched. But what we're talking today about are these signs that are now found at different Jefferson County middle schools. I am with the English language arts teacher here at Maury who came up with this idea for J-Create, Miss Mina Blaylock. And Mina, tell us a little bit about what this is and how you came up with the idea.
Yeah, so growing up as a student in Jefferson County myself, my teachers were always giving me opportunities to, see what I wanted to do and, what God was calling me to do with my life. And so now that I'm a teacher, I am constantly looking for the same opportunities. And so last year, while on vacation with my family at Hilton Head, we came across signs that linked to a poetry trail. And at the same time, I had a student who was bringing me poetry. And oftentimes, middle schoolers, they bring you poetry and short stories and artwork, and you're like, that's great. And then you send them to their seats, and nobody else ever sees it or recognizes it. And so when I saw these signs for a poetry trail, I thought, that's perfect. We need to do something like that, to bring recognition to our students.
And that's exactly what you have started to do. So at every middle school here in Jefferson County, you're going to find these yard signs here. And I'm here with two students who actually have work that is displayed whenever you scan this QR code here. Ezekiel here, 7th grader. Ezekiel, share with us what you have displayed online and tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I made an artwork of the famous tragic story of the Titanic. And I used my free will to sketch it, and I was inspired by history to make myself do this artwork.
What a talented artist, and yeah, just on his own free time, and pencil too. And Harley, you have something a little different than just traditional artwork. You have a poem. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a personal poem about my dad.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit from it.
Okay. My dad says he loves me. He says he's so proud. He messages to remind me, but it's only once in a while. My dad says he misses me. He says that he wants to see me soon. But the days we plan on going, I end up not going. I end up sitting in my room. He says he's here. If so, where'd he go? He says I'll always be his baby girl. But is that just because he wasn't there to see me grow? Was it something I did or something I said? Or was it just him? I try not to care, but little me cared very much. Eventually, I concluded I'll never have the relationship with my dad that I crave. I'll never have his attention or his love. I've always just been there, even though I'll never admit it. Oh
My goodness, Harley, that was so moving. Thank you both for sharing those things. And
she went to a school assembly and left a national winner. It's safe to say this Scott County teacher didn't see it coming.
And the Milken Educator Award goes to Stephanie Bashirs.
Won the National Milken Educator Award. That award comes with a $25,000 cash prize. Bashir says the only teacher in Tennessee to get this award this school year. She is also the first ever teacher to get it in Oneida Special School District history. Bashir says she was shocked and happy to get the award.
I also want to say that me standing here, I'm only who I am because of the people that you see on the outside of this in one way, shape, or form have shaped me to be the teacher that I am. Some of them were my elementary teachers and made me want to be a teacher.
Bashirs was recognized for her instructional leadership, data-driven decision-making, and growth mindset in her classroom. Well, the Tennessee School of Beauty, it's been around for 95 years as of this week, which makes it one of the oldest beauty schools in the country. 10 News reporter Libby Cunningham visited the school and shares their story.
After 95 years in business, the Tennessee School of Beauty knows a thing or two about blowouts and shampoo, but its owners, they know a lot about treating everyone like their family, whether you're a client, a student, or a visitor.
I grew up running through these halls, getting my hair cut here, and I've seen the growth of the school over the last 28 years that I've been alive. So, you know, we've just added so many new things.
It's not just a hair school anymore. The Tennessee School of Beauty also offers a spa, facial services, makeup services, and more. And the students, they can learn how to do everything.
The fact that I'm in the position that I'm in now and being able to have a hand in all the graduate success is really meaningful to me.
Stephen Brown is a fifth-generation co-owner of the school. His dad, Adam, is a fourth-generation co-owner. Their grandmother, Jean Brown, opened the school in the 1930s. Bobby Powell is a co-owner too. She isn't part of the Brown family, but brings so much to the table, they say. For everyone involved, it's not about them, it's about the students.
We know the students and the students know us. It's like I'm Adam, I'm not Mr. Brown. If they have a problem, they can come to me. This is our life. You know, we treat it like like it's our baby, because it is.
Adam says the industry has changed over the years, and he's happy to see students grow along with it.
The industry used to be perceived a lot differently. If you said, oh, my daughter's going to be a hairdresser, they kind of snubbed their nose at them. Now, you know, our graduates do very, very well financially, and they enjoy what they do.
Students say they're excited to learn everything, from highlights to haircuts, and they encourage others who want to be in the beauty industry to dive in.
Do what you love to do. Don't let anybody hold you back, because people have their opinions about this career. But if it's what you love to do, then do it. Follow your dreams.
Well, this week, students at Webb School of Knoxville will compete in their first robotics competition of the season. We met the team Wednesday during our Cool Schools segment. The team will compete in an international competition for high school students. They'll compete against 48 teams from 8 states and Mexico. Their team captain tells us they are ready.
We've been here a lot over the last 2 weeks, just trying to get everything ready to go. I've been here pretty much every day, from after school at 3 till about 8 o'clock since last Monday. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm excited.
This year's competition is underwater themed. The robots have to simulate picking algae off coral and help rebuild coral reefs. The robot's name is Ted, named after Ted Lasso. And of course, we can't forget our favorite part of the week, Cool Schools. Every week we check in with an East Tennessee school to hear all about the cool things that they're doing. I had so much fun on Wednesday checking out the Webb School of Knoxville. Here's some of the highlights. It is definitely a cool school. We're having a great time here at the Webb School of Knoxville. I'm joined by the president, Dr. Ansel Sanders. I'll make sure I get that right. Sir, tell me about Webb School of Knoxville. What makes it such a special place for you?
Yeah, well, good morning, Aaron. Thank you all so much for being here at Webb School of Knoxville. You know, Webb School is important and creative and special in all kinds of ways. We are a pre-K through 12th grade co-ed independent school here in Knoxville. We have 1,072 students, and our mission is all about preparing and nurturing the full potential of each individual and preparing them to serve as students of character, leaders of character in tomorrow's world. And so our people, our faculty, our staff, our students are the heart of this place, and we absolutely love coming to school every day.
I think I'm going to be having a lot of fun in the building that we're in right now. Tell me about the Bailey Family Fitness and Performance Center and just why it's so important to have facilities like this for your students.
Sure. Yeah, we cut the ribbon on the Bailey, as we call it, this fall, and it's an incredible place. Of course, it's an incredible place for our student athletes and our coaches, but it's also a wonderful place for our community. Our middle school physical education curriculum flows through this place. Our faculty and our staff have a place to come work out and take care of themselves, and so it's an incredible facility. It allows us to do all kinds of things, and it allows us to more fully live into our mission. It's a really exciting space, so I'm glad you guys are here today.
Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. Might get my own workout in. In the next half hour, we're going to be talking with the head trainer over here at Webb. So stay tuned to see me get a little workout this early morning. Mr. President, thank you so much for having us.
What is going on behind you?
I got a lot of the students here at Webb. They're taking part of their drone flying. Look at that. Check that out. Look at it. Ah, that's so cool. He's doing a little dance for us. But I'm joined by their science professor, a teacher, I should say, Dr. Jennifer Lowry. Doctor, just tell me a little bit about what's going on behind us.
Sure. These are students from my drone technology class. And they are here to show off some of the work they've been doing. They've learned a lot about drone technology, how drones are assembled, how they fly, and all that sort of stuff back in the fall semester. Yeah.
How important is it to be teaching these life skills now in the new age where drones are kind of an everyday technology?
Yeah, I think it's really important for kids to have access to this type of technology. You know, one of the things we were interested in getting them trained to, like, do this as a side career, as a fun job. They could do videography, they could do surveying, that sort of stuff, and to know how to do these things now, to know how accessible it is, I think is really important for kids.
Real quickly, if you could just explain the impact that you have on these students' lives through teaching them science and everything.
Sure. I'm just really happy to be here. I'm really lucky to be able to work with students who show up at 5 in the morning to just, enjoy flying drones, having fun with science and technology. It's a great experience to be here.
This classroom is easily one of the great examples as to why Webb School of Knoxville is this week's Cool Schools. Thanks for watching. Remember, you can always get the latest headlines on WBIR.com and with the 10 News app. And watch us every weekday morning starting at 4:27 a.m.